Hello, world. Welcome to another episode of the Consulting Diaries. Thank you, as always, for joining. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Championship Mode Collective. If you've been here before, you know how we do, you know what we talk about. Everything consulting, everything reporting live from the gutter, everything staying in championship mode. Now, today I'm going to be talking about, is it possible to survive consulting? The last time we were here, I talked about the dark side and not so nice elements of consulting. And you're probably thinking, where's the so what? Okay, you've given us this episode. And then, but the purpose was to understand what the dark side looks like. And after that, we come up with strategies to survive and figure out how to navigate the dark side. So this is what this episode is about, and let's dive right in. In the dark side of consulting, I broke it up into four main elements: culture, performance, people, and consulting. And so we're going to carry that theme across in this episode. So let's start with culture. To counter the long working hours usually typical in consulting, you have to set up your schedule to be outcome based. What does this mean? Rather than focusing on what you have to do and the project you're on, rather focus on what you need to get out at the end of the day, right? So what you have to do at the end of the day, okay, cool. I need this much time to make sure I get it. I need to speak to these amount of people. Focus in that way, prioritizes what's important and what's due quite early, and sort of like deprioritizes for the things that you can save for next week. Although work-life balance is really a difficult thing to master and to get to, you can get as close as possible. What does this mean? By focusing on your energy and understanding where your energy wants to flow in your life. So what's your purpose? You need to take care of work, you need to take care of your family, and you need to do your extracurricular activities. So at one point you might not be able to balance everything so greatly, but allowing your energy to flow where it wants and where it needs allows you to sort of like come as close as possible to fulfilling your purpose while also surviving consulting. Now, the culture in consulting is not great all the time, right? But if you want to change it, or if you want to see a different culture, practice and support the culture that you want to see. If that's setting up healthy boundaries, if this is maintaining relationships outside of work, if this is supporting your peers and your colleagues so that you split up the long work hours amongst each other, then be the change you want to see. It's as simple as that. Although it's difficult, especially with changing organizational culture, but here again, you focus on what you can control, and with consistency you build the culture that you want to see. And if people take notice, it's a good first step. Performance. Although the effort-reward ratios in consulting leaves a lot to be desired, you have to remind yourself why you're in consulting in the first place. Are you in there for the network? Are you in there for the exposure? Are you there for the clout? Are you there for the career growth? And once you keep that reason in mind, it can help you stay intact. It can help you survive as you push to your goal. And once you reach your goal, you can decide what you want to do after that. This one's a tricky one. The one about you're only as good as your last project, right? Because if your last project was not great, that reputation can ruin you. But the 2 or 3 things that I've seen people focus on is focus on having a learning mindset, focus on learning as much as possible, and in the failings and in the parts that you made mistakes, learn on those mistakes, fail forward to just become a better consultant. And when you sort of like radiate that personality of wanting to learn, wanting to move on from your mistakes, people see untapped potential and they want to be part of that growth. Now, avoiding burnout is quite a difficult thing, right? Especially the fact that burnout is synonymous with high performance. And if you're like high performing, if you're trying to reach your career goals, if you're trying to reach your progressions and everything you've stated you want to do in consulting, you need that high performance. And sometimes it comes close to navigating that burnout range, And in my case, I found that it's unavoidable. Maybe it's different for you, but you just have to learn where sort of like your limit is. And once you find your limit, learn how to be adaptable and learn how to be resilient. When do you take time off? When do you ask for a wellness day? When do you log off from work? When do you start work? Everything sort of like helps you manage your adaptability and your resilience. Like, one simple hack I was discussing with a friend yesterday is there are days where I don't feel social, so I don't go on WhatsApp, I don't go on Instagram, because I want to protect my energy on that day and focus on something else, right? So it can be a simple hack, it can be a big hack, like remaining consistent in being adaptable and resilient. On to people. Now, in a consulting work environment, there are a lot of things that can block you from reaching that high potential, or sort of like just giving you the space to deliver. Now, the one thing I focus on really well is to focus on what I can control. And in what I can control, focus on doing the best that I can to maximize the quality that I put out, right? Now, usually we can tend to get lost between what we can control and what we can't control. And we sort of like want to control the things we can't control, but leave all of that stuff away, like project timelines, what the client wants, and you focus on what you can control, how much effort you put in, what the solution looks like, what the deliverables look like, speaking to your managers and everyone around you. So focusing on what you can control can really help you stay on track to delivering your performance. Now, although you can't always control who your project manager or your project leadership is, the key thing is to focus on being adaptable and resilient, because then you can sort of like manage and absorb what energies they are giving off, whether that's good or bad. And this is similar to the third bracket of the performance frame, right? Where we focus on being adaptable and being resilient, staying on our toes, managing upwards so that we know when things are about to go left and we're able to keep things mostly on track. And again, a bit of the first hat of the people, focus on what you can control. Additionally, on being adaptable and resilient, also learn the people you're on the project with. And this just goes outside of who your manager is, right? Your team, your teammates, the people you are delivering the project with. Learn them, understand when they are at their best, understand when they are at the worst, and you understand that to get the best performance, they also need to be performing well, and you sort of like understand them to help them maintain that level of consistency that is needed to deliver on key projects. So learning the people around you is also an important step and can help you sort of like manage the environment, manage the people around you. Last but not least, consulting. The least malleable, actually I don't think it's malleable at all. So this is talking about how sometimes consulting can really be a generalist space, even though you want technical skills. And that's up to you to decide what you want at the end of the day. Do you want to stick it out in the hopes that something better will come, or build those technical skills while you sort of like wait and learn like other consulting skills? I've seen people do that in their spare time, enroll in like programming tech related courses, right? That's a thing to do. Additionally, just rethink everything, right? If you want those technical skills but you're in a generalist space and it's not serving you, then maybe you either bide your time and figure out a better position to move into, or maybe leave consulting as a whole because it's not going to give you what you want. So don't be afraid to pull the trigger. Don't be afraid to go back to the starting board on your career aspirations. Now, with consulting being the epitome of capitalism and the way it's always just a push for the commercials, unfortunately it is a business, right? And the business running allows you to get your paycheck and fund your lifestyle. So kind of can't get away from that, but it doesn't mean we can't be better, right? And similarly, I think the main thing is to just suck it up, to be like, okay, cool, this is what it is. But also, again, focus on what you can control, right? How do you manage and survive in that environment, right? You literally revisit all the steps that preceded in this video, talking about what you can control, focus on your quality of work that you can deliver, learn about the people around you, build the culture that you want to see, remain adaptable and resilient, right? So we can't do anything about the fact that, business is business, but we can be better individuals in the system, and with the hopes that other people see us and other people learn, and we start to change our work environment. And that is how you survive consulting. Oh, wait, hang on. There's a bonus. There's always a bonus with me. Last bonus step is basically saying, raise the awareness of your profile in the business. Let people know about you. Let people know where you come from. Let people know where you studied, what you studied. Let people know why you're in consulting. Let people know your career ambitions. And what creating that awareness does is people start to remember your name. They start to determine how they can help you. And even when they can help you, they can be supportive, they can give you a relationship to lean on, and you can tap into their network. And sort of like building that relationship is a currency that can come back to support you later in your career, especially when you move out of consulting and then you've built relationships with these people. So awareness is key, and it can help you sort of like move from just surviving in consulting to thriving in consulting. Speaking of thriving in consulting, now that we've focused on how to survive in consulting, thriving is the natural next step. Click the episode on screen to figure out how to take your consulting career from surviving, from being in the pits, to the stage where you build your name, your brand, and your career ambitions. Stay in championship mode.